You ready? Higher, further, faster, baby. Yes, babe.
Buckle up! Carol Danvers is soaring into theaters in Marvel Studios' first female-led movie as Captain Marvel. In honor of her debut, we are looking back at the comics to learn more about the woman who just may be Earth's mightiest hero. Here are 7 things you didn't know about Captain Marvel. Probably. It may be surprising to learn that Captain Marvel did not originate at Marvel Comics and was technically kinda a DC property first. In the 1940s, Fawcett Comics came out with Captain Marvel, a comic about a child named Billy Batson who becomes a grown-up superhero by saying the phrase Shazam. He had the power of flight, super strength, and speed. You know, just like Superman. DC Comics saw this similarity, however, and sued Fawcett for copyright infringement. DC won the case in 1951, and Captain Marvel disappeared from shelves until DC licensed the character for publication in 1972.
Fight's over, son.
During that hiatus, though, Marvel Comics swooped in and trademarked Captain Marvel for their own in 1967. DC was then forced to rebrand their Captain Marvel to Shazam, and the rest is Marvel-DC rivalry fodder. But at the risk of this becoming an episode about Shazam, we'll move on to the next thing. Before Carol ever took on the mantle of Captain Marvel, there were many other worthy name-bearers, all of whom have gained their powers through Kree DNA or through Kree technology. Of course, there was the original Kree Captain Mar-Vell, then there was Monica Rambeau, who in the comics is a peer to Carol Danvers, but in the movie it's her mother, Maria Rambeau, who's a pilot and Carol's friend. Then both of Mar-Vell's posthumous children, Genus Vell and Phyla Vell, took on the title. Next, a Skrull named Kon-Nur bonded to Mar-Vell's DNA and literally transformed into Mar-Vell. And lastly, a Kree named Novar became the next Captain Marvel as a dying wish from Kon-Nur, and you can't really defy someone's dying wish without being an asshole. So, next thing. Before she specifically became Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers made her superhero debut as the feminist Ms. Marvel in 1977. In the 1960s and 70s, the feminist movement reclaimed the Ms. title from the original mistress to a legitimate term used to formally address a woman regardless of her marital status. Gloria Steinem and Dorothy Pitman Hughes took this sentiment and started their own women's magazine, Ms. Marvel mirrored these feminist hallmarks in Carol's professional career, making the former secretary-chief-turned-journalist into the editor of a women's magazine as an homage. Carol was introduced to audiences as Miss Danvers, M-I-S-S, back in 1968, but she makes the point to have Jameson call her Ms. M.S. Danvers in 1977. So Marvel's choice to go with Ms. Marvel rather than Miss showed that they were completely conscious of the social climate and wanted to make Ms. Marvel a feminist figure. Carol Danvers' uniform has gone through many variations, from the way too sexy and impractical to the iconic black physics-defying hip sash. For her debut as Captain Marvel, though, writer Kelly Sue DeConnick aimed for a new look, one that marries the Mar-Vell and Ms. Marvel costumes together. DeConnick wanted Jamie McKelvey to redesign Captain Marvel's costume, but was told that there wasn't enough in their budget to pay him. So DeConnick bet McKelvey that Marvel would like his design and buy it. Pretty boring bet, right? Well, not for DeConnick, who said that if Marvel didn't buy the design, that she'd pay him for his work out of her own pocket. And I'm not sure how much paying for a character design would cost. We're glad it paid off. Sure, Carol Danvers' Captain Marvel has the typical boring powers, flight, strength, and general endurability, but she has some cool extra powers too. As a half-human, half-Kree, she has super immunity to toxins and poisons, and has a seventh sense, which is basically her version of a Spidey sense. In her brief stint as binary, she was able to absorb the energy of a white hole and manipulate the energy, heat, light, and gravity. She didn't remain binary for long, but still retained the ability to absorb energy and shoot photon blasts from her hands. So bring that to your who would win debates. Did you know that Carol Danvers lives in the Statue of Liberty? Well, Carol used to live in an apartment, but her grumpy neighbor, Mr. Zimmerman, tried to evict Carol. In the middle of a crisis, Carol made an agreement with Mr. Zimmerman to move out in exchange for a favor, much to the shock of her friends. Luckily, during a citywide celebration for Captain Marvel, Mayor J. Jonah Jameson, yes, hothead J. Jonah Jameson, gives her not only the key to the city, but also the key to the loftiest of lofts in the Statue of Liberty's crown. She still has to pay rent, though, but that's not his problem. Alright, so here's the last thing, and honestly, it could be a spoilery thing if you haven't read the comics. But even us saying it could be a spoiler makes it a spoiler, right? Like, you could have just been watching this video and we could have slipped this in and it not seem like a spoiler at all, but now that we said it's a spoiler, you know, you think it's a spoiler. Anyway, just get out of here if you're gonna be mad about spoilers even a little bit. Okay, now, the last thing just for us folks that aren't mad about spoilers. Carol's pet cat, Chewie, is a regular cat according to Carol. According to Rocket Raccoon, though, it's a freaking flurkin. Rocket is vindicated when Chewie ends up laying 117 flurkin eggs. Chewie, who in the movie will go by Goose as a reference to Goose from Top Gun, may or may not be an alien, but now could be a good time to check your own cat for any interdimensional pockets hiding in its mouth. That's all we have for this episode of Things You Didn't Know, but let us know in the comments if you're excited to watch Captain Marvel, and subscribe to CineFix for more true-ish things about movies, and sometimes accidental Shazam things right here on Things You Didn't Know.